reporting on the games you love by people who love to game. The MMO Reporter Network.
Hey everybody, Chris here from MMO Reporter, and I am hanging out with the folks at Motiga. I'm looking at Gigantic, and I have to say, I am fairly impressed so far. Can you do me a favor? Can you introduce yourself and let everybody know at home what you do on the team?
Sure. So I'm Joe Pikop. I'm the lead character artist on Gigantic. That's kind of my name and badge number there. But yeah, I'm on a team of some really amazing people doing a really cool...
Yeah. So I'm going to want to talk about what you do specifically in a little bit, but first, can you give us sort of an overview? What is Gigantic?
Yeah, absolutely. So Gigantic is it's a 5-on-5 team-based action game. The objective of the game is to kill the enemy's guardian, which is a roughly 5-story tall big creature.
Yeah.
Sort of reaches back to some old Zelda boss battle days, right? Where you fight the monster when it's down.
Yeah.
You're not messing with it until it's down.
Yeah.
But we do our best to give different characters. There's actually, you can see on the wall here, there's a bunch of them. Different characters have different playstyles. Actually, very specifically, different playstyles. Mm-hmm. So there might be a first-person shooter sniper next to a positional summoner that like actually summons creatures and doesn't actually shoot. So
the one thing from I think I've played about 4 matches so far here at PAX East, and the one thing,
good commitment of time there.
Yeah, you know what, and it was worth the time and lineup last night at the party because we won 1 match, lost 1 match, so 50-50. You know, although I have to say that the Team Gigantic, the Team Motiga people, they were doing okay against in the tournaments against people, but they weren't winning every single time.
I was actually on that team.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
No, actually, the interesting thing is, so historically, you know, we play this game a lot. We actually play a good solid hour every day. Yeah. At the minimum. Yeah. Usually it goes a little longer. Yeah. But we really like what we're doing, and we all play enough that we're pretty good at it. Yeah. But the jokers that we brought a bunch of community coaches, basically a bunch of fans of the game that are just categorically better than us. Like they are actually mechanically and strategically better at the game than us. They beat us at it now. Yeah. Consistently. Actually, the matches you saw, we were close. Actually, we were literally on the headsets being like, are we about to beat that team? Like, is this real life?
And one of the mechanics is that the way that you win is you kill the enemy's guardian, like you were saying, and so you've got the health bars for the guardians at the top. And one of the matches, the shoutcasts were just, oh, this is it, this is the final one. They're gonna, and then there would be just this sliver of health, and it went back and forth, just going this tiny sliver down every time. You know, I have to admit that I haven't played a lot of League of Legends. I've played more Smite than League of Legends, so I understand MOBAs, but that back and forth at that last second, I mean, that was killer.
So one of the other things that I think is really, really distinctly different is the game mode itself, the way that it progresses. Mm-hmm. We end the game, but we don't end the game by snowballing people. Mm-hmm. You don't get out of hand, right? Yeah. I play League and I play Dota, and I love the shit out of them. Those are near and dear to me. I love those games. But once I get ahead or I get behind, I'm out, and I've got an hour to play. Right? Yeah. Like I'm still there. Yeah. It's unlikely. It still happens, but it snowballs pretty heavy. Yeah. We've done a pretty good job of taking that you know the reversal, the dramatic, like the moment. I mean, you saw that. Actually, you can't script that. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, actually, I was watching and like, oh, you just what? And seeing Roland run up and kill the 2 guys attacking the heart for that last little sliver, and then he killed them both. Yeah, I was like, dude, drop the mic. I'm done. I'm out of here. You're not gonna get a better game than that. Like, that was so good.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Now, there are some aspects that are different than a typical MOBA. You don't have minions spawning, right? You don't have that. Do you worry that there's such a connection with League of Legends right now where the MOBA community is, that and Dota 2, obviously, and there's a whole bunch of other games, but that's where the mainstay is. If you want to compare it to MMOs, WoW was like that for a very long time, and everybody was trying to copy that. Do you worry that by making it different, that you might alienate's the wrong word, but you might be making it a little too different, and that core League community might not try it because it is different?
Yeah. So I think the important thing to know is that we're not trying to be a MOBA. We're not actually trying to be any comparable product. It's not meant to be that.
Yeah.
What we've set out to do is basically make a game that is fun to us. Mm-hmm. So, well, if you're reductive about it and you kind of make the bullet points for the box, you could say it's a MOBA-like game. Yeah. But then if you're looking at it, it also has elements from domination or like a battlefield, right? Like control points.
A lot of comparisons to some structured PvP from Guild Wars 2.
Sure, yeah.
A little bit in sort of that control point, really actiony. You're in there. You're trying to get that.
So that's the really what it comes down to is it's not really. It isn't trying to be any particular game. So at the end of the day, what we're trying to do is make something new, and I think that people tend to vote with their feet. Mm-hmm. If they like something, I mean, people are smart. If you're copying another game, maybe you'll pull a few people from that game you're copying because it's their own little niche. Yeah. But when you're not, and people really like what you're doing, it tends to show up. Like I don't think anybody's worried about it being divergent from what people would expect. Okay. And in fact, we're actually trying not to be the same. Yeah. So.
One of the other mechanics that I thought was really interesting is when you do capture a point, you get to spawn a minion that's static to that point. There were 3 that I saw in the matches that I played. Yep. Is that the 3 that are there for every game mode, every map?
No. Actually, we a lot of the UI has been cut out of the game, so you hit the play button and you start right now, right? Yeah. Actually, those are creatures that you bring yourself. Okay. Kind of like Pokemon. You kind of collect the things that you want.
So that's personal to the player.
There's a little, when you select your character at the beginning, there's a little loadout thing. Okay. That's the groups of set up like 3 that you want to bring. Yeah. You've seen Cerberus, Cyclops, and trees.
The tree, yeah.
Tree ants. Yeah. There's also dragons. There are Motigas, actually, cute little lizard mans. There's a bunch of them. Each of them has a very different net effect on the game.
Yeah. And do you earn those in game through achievements, or how do you get those?
They're unlocked basically as you play, right? Okay. So you'll get different ones from different things.
So every character, if I play the Margrave and I really like that, and somebody else does the same thing, just by playing, we're going to unlock all the same ones.
Yeah. I mean, it's right by playing. Basically everything will be as far as content goes. Yeah. You'll play to earn. Okay. Yeah. The creatures themselves, you're only seeing one of them. Okay. But there's families. So the Cerberus, there's a big bulldog looking one. There's a shadow one that stealths around and teleports. And so there's different versions of each of those things. Okay. That all have very different abilities. Yeah. Still in the same world, like they still do the same things, but they have like their own little special. Oh, cool.
Yeah. I liked the fact that I was able to jump in, and again, not being the twitchiest of players, and I like tanking. I like jumping in the middle of things, and not necessarily being the one with the most kills, but making sure that the guy that's standing behind me gets the most kills. And I was able to be very effective and have a lot of fun playing with that play style. I had another friend who was healer, and he was just working on that sort of stuff and really supporting, and that was really powerful for him. And then you had the snipers and the melee and stuff. How, like when you were going through the design process and trying to get to the point of getting the game out, how important was it to get those different play styles available in one game, right? That's a lot of play styles to fit into one envelope.
I think that we've kind of approached it as why not, right? Like, it's actually, at the end of the day, there's no real reason why you can't have a fighting game character and a sniper in the same game. Yeah. Apart from it's kind of hard. Yeah. It's like it's a balanced nightmare. Yeah. But it's fun. Like I think that's one thing that like at the end of the day we've tried very, very hard to if something seems like it's a fun idea, it's a good idea, just keep it on the wall. We're gonna do it. We'll make it work somehow. Yeah. And I think that comes through. I mean, you mentioned you can be a healer And you can be a tank.
Yeah.
You can also be a first-person shooter sniper.
Yeah.
You can be an engineer, basically. Like bringing your little creatures around.
Yeah.
Having those roles means that you get to bring people in that maybe wouldn't have jumped on a third-person shooter. Right.
Yeah.
Because it's fast, like you said.
Yeah.
So.
Or I'm really enjoying this game, and I've got a friend who's a shooter fan.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Let's find something to play together.
Yeah.
Oh, you can do this like a shooter. You go here. It's a little different, but you'll get it because you play shooters.
Yeah.
So that's especially for MMO players like myself.
Yep.
We've got our guild where okay, it's not raid night tonight, but we want to do something together. Let's jump into this other game and take a bit of a break. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I find really unique about the game is the aesthetic direction that you chose, which is it's not quite to the cartoony point of WoW or WildStar, but it's also not like going the realistic route. It's this sort of middle ground of almost. I can't quite find the words because it is quite unique, but it's almost graphic art without being comic-y.
That is
exactly
it. I mean, some of the stuff we did was very specific to basically saying, hey, if you were doing an illustration, what would you do to make it really feel right? And so a lot of it is that. I mean, it references a lot of things, and it is trying to be simpler than, I like putting pores and wrinkles on the wrinkles. And then pores for the wrinkles.
Yeah.
Like we don't, that dates it pretty quickly. When the second you get a higher res texture, last year's game was actually pretty budget looking.
Yeah.
Even if it is like amazing,
right?
It is just a race you can't win.
Yeah.
So building things that if you want the game to be around for 10 years, a free-to-play game, you want people to just play it and love it. And so I think Team Fortress, taught some really great lessons in how to make a game that. Excuse me. My throat's a little sore.
That's like it's day 3 of PAX or something, and you've been talking for 3 days straight.
You can hear it a little bit. Yeah. I think Team Fortress taught us a lot about how you can make a game still relevant 10 years later. I look at that game and it still looks gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's still rad to look at.
Yeah.
And so, taking some leads from that, we all really wanted to make a stylized game. We all really, really like art for art's sake and trying to make something that's unique.
Yeah.
Like, the idea being that at the end of the day, it feels really good to see something and say, oh yeah, that's great. I love that.
Yeah.
And why didn't somebody do this yet?
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Like having that feeling whenever I see somebody else do like art that's great, I get so excited. And so trying to make sure that we're making sure that we keep ourselves in that track where it's trying to make something that when you walk up to it, you approach it, you're like, somebody should have done that.
But it's also unique enough that this is something that you see the art style, and it's got those inspirations, those things that you're pulling from. But the combination together isn't something that I've seen a lot of so far. So you're also creating quite a unique.
Yeah, I didn't mean to be reductive. I really just mean that I think you can learn a lot from what goes right and wrong.
Yeah.
And I think that at the end of the day, I'm just like, the art team itself is, there's no art director, so there are about 30 of them, right? It's the whole art team just kind of talks constantly and is self-critical, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh no, we're not there yet. It's not good enough. So take 2. Right?
Yeah, our artists are the hardest on themselves, aren't they?
Yeah, and if you have some smart people that are hard on themselves, they're also hard on you.
Yeah, exactly. So when you get home or when you're in the office and you get to choose the character, somebody else hasn't picked it yet, what's your first choice when you're going to jump into a game?
If we're talking about, the cool thing is I like to play based on my mood.
Yeah.
So one day, really, I think when we first really got the characters, we figured it out. The rogue Trip, she was my favorite.
Yeah.
And when I started slowing down a little bit, where it was like, she's very twitchy.
Yeah.
So the less I played her, the less good I was. I was very good at it for a while.
Yeah.
So depending on my mood, it really changes what I feel like doing, right?
Yeah.
Currently, I've been Vidasi pretty much exclusively because I've just been on I'm going to be a healer today. That's what I'm doing. But I love Wu.
Yeah.
And if I'm honest, there's a couple characters that we haven't announced yet.
Yeah.
prototype characters that we've got. That
It's just the two of us here. We can talk. There's nobody here. There's
I'm
nobody.
just saying that there's one character in particular, that I love. It's so fun to play. It's a totally different play style.
Yeah.
But it just makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to talk about the game. I'm really looking forward to getting into it. Hopefully, soon we'll be able to share with everybody out there because I know I had a lot of fun here. So thanks so much.
Yeah, no problem, man. That was
awesome.
great talking.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thanks for watching the video, everybody. Don't forget to check out all the other podcasts at MMOreporter.com or by clicking on any of the links here. And please check out our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MMOreporter. Thanks, everyone, and see you in game.